Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you never seem to learn anything from tutorials and videos? I felt exactly like that when I tried to master new skills on my own, trying apps, videos, articles, and nothing really stuck. It was confusing, frustrating, and I felt like I was going around in circles without getting anywhere. Each failed attempt made me even more insecure until I realized something fundamental about how we actually learn. And that's when I discovered a method that allowed me to learn any skill much faster. No fuss, no perfection, just practicing the right way. The funny thing is, no one talks about this. Real learning doesn't come from seeing or hearing. It comes from doing, making mistakes, and teaching. It's counterintuitive, I know, but it's precisely this lazy and strategic approach that transforms chaos into clarity, confusion into mastery. Imagine being able to master any skill without getting lost in too much information, without waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal tutorial. I discovered this path, and in today's video, I'll show you step by step how to apply it so you too can accelerate your learning in a practical and fun way. When I first opened the video editing software without watching any tutorials, it was a complete disaster. I clicked on everything, crashed functions, accidentally closed programs. It felt like I dove headfirst into an icy lake. Cold, scary, and utterly confusing. But somehow, each mistake taught me something new. And you know what's funny? It's precisely in this chaos that real learning happens. Each misstep leaves a mark that no explanatory video could. I realized that just watching tutorials wasn't getting me anywhere. Real learning is about feeling, experimenting, and adjusting on the fly. It's like cooking without a recipe. You taste, make mistakes, add a seasoning, get the texture right, and only then do you truly understand what you're doing. Each failed attempt gave me more clarity than any theoretical explanation. The secret is to throw yourself into it without fear of messing up, because that's exactly where you begin to cement your knowledge. And it was in this initial chaos that I learned the first essential lesson. Trying, failing, and figuring things out for yourself is far more powerful than passively consuming information. Every mistake is a living lesson. Every success becomes memorable. I began to notice patterns, to understand how the software works, and this led me to something I would only fully understand when I began to perceive the pattern in the chaos. A chaos that, curiously, would open doors to something greater.
I realized that chaos is often my greatest ally. Instead of striving for perfection, I purposefully made mistakes and immediately Googled solutions. It's strange to admit, but that's exactly how my brain began to truly absorb what I was learning. Each problem I solved on my own stuck with me in a way no tutorial could guarantee. It's as if I were creating tiny lights inside my memory, each one illuminating a particular path. At first, it seemed overwhelmingly confusing, almost paralyzing. But then I realized that this efficient confusion worked like an invisible map. The chaos forced me to think, try, and test different solutions. And you know what's curious? The more I allowed myself to make mistakes, the faster clarity emerged. It's like putting together a puzzle without the final image. Each piece fitting together provides a click of understanding, and the picture gradually but surely comes together. What I really learned is that my brain remembers solutions I discovered myself far more than anything I read or watched. It's a strange feeling at first, but rewarding. You feel like you own the knowledge, not just repeating instructions. And it was precisely this realization that began to change how I approached any new skill, preparing me for something even more powerful, something I would only discover by narrowing down my choices and getting started right away. I realized that when I have too many options, I end up doing nothing. Instead of following 10 different tutorials, I chose just one and really focused on it. It was incredible how this changed my rhythm. Fewer distractions, more action. It's like standing in front of a giant buffet. If you don't make up your mind, you end up eating nothing. The simplicity gave me the freedom to get started, even without feeling fully prepared. Starting immediately taught me that waiting for the right time or the perfect resource is a waste of time. Every minute I delayed was another minute of confusion in my head. When I pared everything down to the essentials, I was able to tackle the project, experiment, and learn by doing. It's like picking up a bike for the first time. You don't learn by watching, you fall, get up, and pedal. And every small achievement motivates you to keep going. The most surprising thing was realizing that action creates clarity. The more I did it, the more I understood what really mattered and what was just distraction. This simple approach made me feel like I could learn anything, even without mastering every detail. And this is the bridge to the next step, teaching out loud, which is when you truly realize whether you've learned or just memorized.
I discovered something curious. Explaining what I was learning to someone, or even to my cat, made everything fall into place in my head in a way I'd never felt before. When I spoke out loud, my brain was forced to structure the information, transforming confusion into meaning. It was as if I were translating jumbled thoughts into clear instructions. Only then did they truly make sense to me. At first, it seemed a bit strange and even funny, I admit. I stood in front of the mirror explaining editing techniques, repeating words, gesturing. But it was precisely then that I realized where I truly understood and where I was still lost. Each sentence I uttered acted like a small light, illuminating points I hadn't even noticed. Teaching forced me to be precise, and this precision reinforced my learning. And the most surprising thing was that as I taught, I began to see connections that had previously eluded me. What seemed complicated became logical and applicable in practice. It was at that moment that I understood that teaching not only reveals what you know, but also prepares you for the next step. Practicing consistently, day after day, to truly master every detail. I discovered that I didn't need to spend hours studying to truly learn. Just 10 minutes a day revisiting what I'd learned made a huge difference. Each day became a brick that I carefully placed, consistently piling knowledge. It's like building a Lego wall. You don't put it all together at once, you add layer by layer until you see the entire structure take shape. At first, I underestimated daily repetition. I thought just learning something intensely every now and then would be enough. But I realized that memory works best with consistency, even in small doses. What I revisited daily remained fixed, while sporadic efforts quickly faded. It's like watering a plant. Little by little, but each day, it grows strong and healthy. And the most interesting thing is how this daily practice changes your perception of learning. Each small step adds up, and suddenly, skills that seemed complex start to become second nature. And it's precisely this consistency that led me to try something even more powerful, a complete loop-based method that accelerated my learning in ways I never imagined. I realized I could accelerate my learning by creating a simple cycle I called the lazy loop. First step, choose a few quality resources. Instead of getting lost in dozens of tutorials, I selected only what truly mattered and focused on it. This conscious choice saved me time and energy, and each resource became more valuable because I knew exactly where it fit into my learning. The second step was to break everything down into bite-sized daily goals. I didn't try to absorb everything at once. I divided the knowledge into digestible chunks. Then came the fun part, getting to grips with the project before watching more content. It was like experimenting before theorizing, getting hands-on and discovering for myself the details no one explains. And of course, I explained what I learned out loud, reinforcing everything I just discovered. The final step was to repeat the next day, gradually accumulating progress. By following this loop, I was able to edit videos or program faster than I ever imagined. Each small advance built on the previous one, like short gym workouts that strengthen the body without overexerting it. And the most incredible thing is that this method completely transformed my approach. It was no longer about consuming information, but rather experiencing the learning in a practical, intuitive, and continuous way. What I want you to take away from this is simple yet powerful. Put all of this into practice. Start small, choose a single step today, and try to truly apply it. Will you allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them, or will you remain stuck trying to get it right the first time? Think, how many skills could you master if you adopted this method consistently, day after day? I guarantee progress happens faster than you imagine. Now tell me something. What skill have you always wanted to learn but never started for fear of failure or too much information? Imagine how different it would be if you applied the lazy loop, starting simple, learning by doing, and repeating every day. Each small step forward builds into a solid foundation, and suddenly you realize you've learned more in weeks than you ever could in months of passive study. So here's the invitation. Apply these strategies, test, fail, discover, and share what you learn. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Because accelerated learning is just the beginning, and I want to be with you on this journey. Remember, what separates true learners from those who merely consume information is simple but powerful. Act, fail, and repeat.